Today, we're going to talk about something that's absolutely foundational to the alchemy of success. It's called mental autonomy. We're going to break down how our modern digital world is literally engineered to influence us so that you can start architecting a mind that is truly and powerfully your own.
So let's just start with this question right here. Really think about it. In a world with endless information, with every single feed curated just for you, every ad personalized, every notification screaming for your attention, how much of what you think and believe is a conscious choice? And how much has been, subtly suggested to you? This isn't about some grand conspiracy, it's about design, and understanding that design is the very first step toward real independence.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to pull back the curtain on what we're calling the engineered belief machine. Then we'll dive into the psychology it taps into so effectively and why we so often don't even notice it's happening. But most importantly, we're going to get practical. We'll lay out the blueprint for architecting your own mental autonomy, which all leads to that final goal, reclaiming your mental sovereignty.
So this engineered belief machine, what is it? The key thing to get is that our digital world isn't some neutral town square where ideas just float around. Nope, it's a carefully crafted architecture. And just like the architecture of a building is designed to guide you, this digital architecture is designed to guide your behavior, your thoughts, your emotions, your clicks.
And this entire system runs on what we're calling systematic deception. Now, this isn't about big, obvious lies. It's way more subtle. It's the constant, low-hum manipulation that's woven into the very convenience of it all. It's so smooth, so personalized, so frictionless that you don't even feel the gentle push in one direction or another. It feels like you're choosing, but the choices have already been framed for you.
Let's get into the nuts and bolts of how this actually works. First up, you've got the algorithms. They're the master curators, deciding what you see to literally shape your attention and even how you feel. That personalized content? It feels like you have all the choice in the world, but really, you're often just walking down a pre-paved road. And then there's this really clever technique of near truths. You take a little bit of fact, mix it with a whole lot of assumption, and suddenly it seems totally believable. And of course, the oldest trick in the book, repetition. If you see something enough times, your brain just starts to nod along and accept it as true.
Okay, so we get the machine, but the really big question is, why is it so powerful? Why does it work so well on us? Well, the answer isn't really in the tech. It's in us. It's in our own psychology and the deep human needs that these false narratives are expertly designed to hook into. And this right here, this is absolutely crucial. These are the three fundamental needs these narratives hijack. First, identity attachment. We are drawn like magnets to information that confirms who we already believe we are. Second, tribal belonging. We love stories that make us feel like we're part of a team, part of a group that gets it. And third, maybe the most powerful of all, emotional resonance. This is content that's built to bypass your logical brain and go straight for the gut, making you feel fear or pride or validation.
And these are the levers they pull to trigger those drivers. Just think about it. Urgency. You see that breaking news banner and it demands you pay attention right now. Certainty. In a confusing world, isn't it comforting when someone presents a messy problem as a simple black and white issue? And simplicity, offering you that easy, digestible answer so you don't have to do the hard work of wrestling with complexity. It's a potent cocktail, and it's incredibly hard to resist.
So if all these tactics are happening all the time, right out in the open, why don't we see them more clearly? Why is the manipulation so often invisible? Well, the answer isn't out there. It's in here. The system works because it's custom built to exploit our own cognitive vulnerabilities, our own mental blind spots.
And here are 4 of the big ones. First, we just have this default to trust. If a source feels familiar, we tend to believe it without really checking. Which ties right into the familiarity illusion. We see a message over and over, and our brain mistakes that repetition for truth. Then there's outsourcing thinking. We just let the algorithm decide what's important. It's easier, right? And all of this is cranked up to 11 by our fragmented attention. We're multitasking so much that our ability to think deeply and critically gets completely worn down.
Okay, let's make this real for a second. Take a look at this table. Just pause for a moment and think of one source of information you rely on every day. Could be a news website, a social media influencer, a podcast. Now, be really honest with yourself. Look at that second column. Why do you trust it? Is it based on actual evidence that it's reliable? Or is it just a habit, something that's just there? This little self-audit can be a real eye-opener.
Okay, we've spent a lot of time diagnosing the problem, looking at this architecture of influence. But here's the good news, and this is the most important part of this whole conversation. We are not powerless. We can absolutely make a conscious choice to shift from being passive consumers to becoming active architects of our own minds.
And the key insight is right here. The answer isn't to just throw your phone in a lake and become a hermit. It's not about disconnecting. It's about learning how to navigate this world with awareness and with intention. It's the difference between sleepwalking through your digital life and consciously choosing what you allow to shape your thinking.
So where do you even begin? Right here. This is a simple but incredibly powerful 3-step blueprint you can start using today. Step 1, just pause. Create a little space, a gap, between seeing something and believing it. Step 2, evaluate the incentives. Ask that classic question, cui bono, who benefits if I believe this? And step 3, detect the emotion. Ask yourself, is this piece of content trying to inform me, or is it engineered to make me feel something? Outraged, happy, scared?
All right, let's do a quick personal gut check. Look at these 4 critical skills for building that autonomy. There are no right or wrong answers here. This is just for you. On a scale of 1 to 5, how strong do you feel in each of these areas right now? Where are you already solid? And where's there a real opportunity to build? This isn't a test. It's just about finding your starting point.
And now we get to what this has all been building toward. It's about moving beyond just being aware and into a real daily commitment. This is the exciting part, folks. This is about reclaiming your mental sovereignty.
So I want to leave you with a few questions to really chew on, starting with this one. What is one belief you hold or one source you trust that maybe you've just been accepting on autopilot? Just naming it, even just to yourself, is a huge first step.
And remember that blind spot we talked about, outsourcing thinking? Let's get really specific with this next question. Where in your life have you kind of handed over the controls? Is it the algorithm that picks your music and movies? The news feed that tells you what's important in the world? Where have you let something else do the thinking for you?
And that brings us to our last, and honestly, most important question of all. Because architecting your mind, it's not a one-and-done fix. It's a project, it's a practice, and it starts with laying a single brick. So, what's it going to be? What is the first brick you will lay for your mental autonomy starting today? Will you question one headline? Will you pause before sharing one post? The power to build has always been right there, in your hands.